Everybody, welcome to Local Keys and Contracts. Today we are here with Darryl Brown. Darryl is a contractor, investor, and then at the same time too, ultimate real estate mogul. He definitely has been all over the place for how many decades? Doing not only just investor real estate, I mean across the board for your own
life,
yeah. And then at the same time too, guys, so it's myself, Keyano Burgess here. Both of us are local investors. And then at the same time, too, local real estate agents. We're going to be sitting down here with Darryl. We're just going to talk some shop, man. I mean, at the end of the day, brother, what are some of the biggest things that you've seen, especially on the contracting side? I've been working with you for so long, man. Every single time, like, what do you notice with investors, especially? Like some of the biggest... with some of the biggest pitfalls, some of the biggest things, especially when it comes to the rehab side.
Yeah, well, I've seen a lot. Oh man, I've seen a lot as far as, I see a lot of them go south, deals go south. A lot of them, people do very well on, you know what I mean? I think a lot of it's being only prepared when you get into real estate, you know what I mean? Even as far as me investing in properties, I was making sure that I was ready and prepared financially in the beginning, because me as a contractor, I know that if I'm telling somebody that the rehab's 60K, just say 60K, even through that 60K rehab, there's going to be more cost.
Right.
That means the bottom line is you got to have some back cash on the back end, put away to the side for an emergency. Something pops up. I got a buddy of mine, we're doing a rehab for him in Northfield right now. The rehab was, 48K or whatever it was. He reached out to the city for the POS items. POS items come back, trim some trees, fix the gutter, fix the window, fix the roof, and do something else. I guess the inspector was out of town for a month on vacation. He comes back, sends him another POS. The POS is, now he has to run a sewer, new sewer from the street to the house. 10 grand. He didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming as a contractor, because the water's flowing pretty good. But in certain cities now, they're running a sewer scope.
They did a scope? Yeah.
They did a sewer scope for the POS. And never told him about it though when he bought the house, which, me.
Which cities are doing that?
That's Northfield and Bedford.
Huh.
Yep. But so anyways, they did it, and it's like, now, in order for him to even do this, run the new sewer line, sanitary to the street, he's got to take out a tree that's probably 3 or 4 grand. Mm-hmm. On top of another 10 grand. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's always going to be cost. People don't, oh no, price is the price. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, I do my own and I know, you know what I mean? It's just, like I've done 30, 40 properties a year for certain investors, and I see the flaws and I see the good things, you know what I mean? And I pay attention and I like to observe, and I'm also, as a contractor, I'm paying attention, because by me watching this investor, I'm going to protect myself and I'm going to learn from their lesson. You get what I'm saying?
Well, tell the people a little bit, how many contracts, how many rehab deals did you end up doing this year?
This year, 67, but the guys just called me today and said they had 12 locked up.
Jesus.
They just closed 2 today. So, I'm not going to finish those by the first of the year, so I'm just going to call it 68, 69 by then, because I'll have 2 more done probably next week or so.
That's still wild.
So, but that's
almost 2 a week. I
got a buddy of mine that works for me, and he was helping one of his dudes do some side work, and the dude was like, how's Darryl and them doing over there? We're builders and stuff, He's like, it looks like they're killing it, man. He's like, maybe me and him could team up. And he was like, yeah, how many flips and stuff did you do this year? He's like 7 or 8. He's like 7. We did like 67 or 8.
This was a contractor saying?
Yes, another contractor said he did 7 or 8.
That's some small fish.
and he's like, no, we've actually, because I send my guys every job. It's like they know all the jobs. We got so many jobs. We lose. I don't care if you tell me this. the job, I have to go back and look in my addresses and my notes and find the address because I can't remember so many of them. You know what I mean?
So you have a nice system in place to keep track of that all?
Yeah, I run it all myself. You know what I mean? It's a lot. And I was just talking. So I got a buddy of mine, Tim. You know Tim.
Yeah.
I think this year we're trying to right now. We're working on some kinks where I'm thinking about. I gotta bring him in anyway because he does make a lot of sense on how to be more organized. To know I got so many things, so much money coming in, so much money going out, so many jobs getting pumped out quick. Right. You know, I got sub crews, I got my own employees. It is a lot for one person. But the crazy part is I've been managing this like this for 3 or 4 years or whatever it is.
Yeah, and there's a couple different things too, like for investors to better understand, Darryl, when you're talking about how you manage, how you systematize sub crews. Can you break down a little bit more about like what that all means? Like what does that mean with project management? How you facilitate these sub crews? What sub crews are?
Sub crews are like basically the same thing as all right. So say when I get overload, or I got a buddy that has his own business and they get slow, or I just got a whole nother crew that I don't have to babysit. I don't have to be checking up on every day to make sure they're showing up, or this and that, or this is getting done. You know, I might walk the job once or twice a week with my guy, and my guy takes care of his guys. You know what I mean? So it's like, it takes a lot of stress off me because I got so many, and I'm pumping jobs out, and I'm feeding these guys work year round. You know what I mean? And they depend on you just like your regular employees depend on you. You know what I mean?
So your sub crews, are they like exclusive to you, or are they doing their own thing a little
They
bit?
do their own thing, which is cool. I want to see everybody win. You know what I mean? That's like my one dude, Mike. He's doing, you know, he's doing like 3 or 4 every 3 to 4 months for me. But he's also working for like, he'll find his own investors and he'll do one for this investor. You know, you don't find a lot of investors that pump out 30, 40 rehabs in 1 year. You don't. Mm-hmm. You do, but you don't. You know what I mean?
That's like the gold mine, right? Somebody that can get you that consistent
Yeah, once you
business,
do
right?
that, I mean, like, I've worked for several investors that's pumping out 30, 40 of them a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in the last 3 or 4 years now, I've been pumping them out. Last year I think it was like 38 rehab, or no, the year before that was 38. Then I went up to like 50 something, and then now I'm up to 60 something. And I'm thinking about, you know, what I was talking about bringing my buddy Tim on so I could be more organized. Is we could pump out even more. You know what I mean? Because I could focus more on landing the jobs and this and that, and dealing with other investors, and dealing with more sub crews.
I can't even tell you guys, like the amount of times that we would walk into properties, and I swear this guy within 10 minutes of walking it, as soon as he's out, he's pumping out the numbers on what it's going to be. I mean, how are you budget lining all of this in your head for, needs X, Y, Z?
You know, the thing is, and a lot of times, you know, so like I work for a lot of big investors, you know what I mean? And I've done so many, I've lost, you know, profits on jobs, under budgeting, and then I've also made good money on jobs, budgeting it the proper way. You know, just call it before COVID. Yeah. A rehab back then would cost you 20, 30 grand, 40 grand for a nice, good rehab though, flip rehab. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if like see my personal flips now, like I'm doing my own now, and I'm seeing like, wow, this thing's, you know, people don't understand. Like I've spent over $800,000 with just Home Depot alone. That's not even counting countertop guys, appliance guys, whatever. If I go outsource Home Depot for some better flooring through my buddy Tim or whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or cabinets through Tim. You know, I've spent over $1 million plus on just building materials. And you know, it's it seems like everything's going up. You know, the cost of living is going up, but that means you got to do more work. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you know, I've lost money just like investors have lost money. Me as a contractor, but you know, the good contractor is going to finish that job whether he loses or not. You know what I mean? And you know, all of my personal flips. I as you can see, you know, we got this property, the Olmsted Falls. Yeah. And think about how cautious I was getting it towards the end of it. You know, as far as, you know, I was racking my brain. I think that night I only slept like 3 hours. The night before we closed. Because I'm thinking like, you know, what ifs. There's a bunch of what ifs.
Yeah.
You know, hey, I'm willing to take that chance. You know what I mean? You got to take chances.
Well, one of the biggest things is like, how do you end up working through those? Talking a little bit more about your own personal investments. Like I know some where you make killings. I mean, absolute profits hand over fist. Yeah. But how did you end up kind of sorting through those hurdles of, oh my God, I don't know if this is a good thing. Some buyer's remorses fit in there. Yeah. And how do you end up fixing through, okay, we're just gonna get through it, we're gonna go through it, and I'm gonna make it happen. I'm not gonna lie. I was anticipating at any moment you calling me and just telling me, okay, we're not doing this deal. Because I was like, okay, so it is what it is.
So, you know, it's like, I have the confidence. It's going to sell the area. I know houses do not sit long, you know, sit fall, especially if you do them nice. Yeah. Only thing got me was like the garage. Yeah. Yeah. Who wants to spend $250,000 on a nice house with, you know, without a garage? But then I'm thinking about the more I walked it this third time, because I walked it 3 different times after you gave me the code again. Yeah. And I'm looking at that back view of that backyard, and I'm like, this thing's gonna sell. You know what I mean? Yeah. Then the next day I walk it again, and I'm like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. But, you know, it's just like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it, because at the end of the day, as long as I make profit, I don't lose, it's still a win. You know what I mean?
Are you gonna build a garage?
There's no room for it.
There's no room, okay.
The way that it is
it's set like, on a corner lot, and so like,
there's a drop
it goes off, and the drop of this thing goes down like a 50-foot drop in the ravine, and then it goes up another hill in the metro parks.
Oh,
so it's got, right? Yeah, it's got all wooded area, and it's got like a creek in there, and it's really nice. Like I said, when you walk on the deck, and then you're like, I could picture myself living in this house in the summertime, you know, when you grill out there, your family, and the view, and this quiet, all you hear is crickets and birds and whatever, the creek going, you know? Yeah. I mean, people love that. Yeah. That's going to be the selling point right there when they walk on that deck.
Well, you know what I think the other point too is that massive family room. And that's one of the reasons
with all the open windows to the back.
Open that out. I mean, that's the other piece is, guys, I mean, when you walk into this property, it's so funny because you don't really expect it. And then as soon as you go towards the back, I guess they built out that addition. And when they built out the addition, made this giant family room with all windows across. And it's gorgeous. I think it's going to be gorgeous, especially in the spring when you end up putting it up.
Right, yeah. But do a major yard cleanup, you know. Redo the exterior and knock out some walls in that kitchen area, open it up a little bit, and just put it back on the market. So I think it's going to be nice. It's got vinyl windows. It's got decent roof, you know.
It already has vinyl windows?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's got good mechanicals.
Yeah.
That's why, you know, at the end I'm like, oh, you know, so I'm going to try to keep the costs down. And I know I'm going to win, but not, so I'm used to making good money. I mean, like I sold a couple, and Dave Newman, the private money guy, whatever. Yeah. He's like, yeah, wow, you made that much? You know, he's seen how much was made. Yeah. And he's like, hold on, you made this much off this deal and you only had it for 3 months? And then we had to have 3 different appraisals on the property, and he was like, what's taking so long? I'm like, I don't know.
3 different appraisals, you said?
It was 3 different appraisals, and they got 3 different appraisals because I bought the house for a certain price, and then I'm selling it for this huge price.
I know, like, that's...
And they're like, hold on, how did he only own the house for 2-3 months, and he's selling this house for $220,000 or whatever it is? Yeah. You know what I mean? I got it for really cheap. And I bought it through a friend. I didn't buy it off on market. I bought it through, you know...
Off market.
Right. Well, that's along those lines. I just want to understand, like, especially telling people how you end up sorting out that remorse, but also seeing the potential within deals, because it's not an easy call, but that's where the risks are.
You have to have a vision, man. When you walk in, you have to just, you know, soon as I walk a property for you or any other investor, you know, we walk hundreds of them. Every day I walk, I don't know, 5 to 10 every single day of my life. Sometimes not on Sundays. But, you know, unless you say, hey, I got 2 or 3 on Sunday, you know, between time, you know, I make time. But, you know, I as soon as I walk that property, walk in that door, I'm already crunching numbers. You know, I'm scouting, I'm brainstorming, you know, strategize. That's why I ask all these questions. What's the purchase price? You know, what's ARVs? You know, me as a contractor, so I know where I need to be at and what I'm telling these people they can do with this property.
Yeah.
Versus just saying, hey, you know, 100 grand. You know, I'd rather know if it's like, say for instance, it's a duplex, triplex, quad. You know, obviously those are going to be a rental property, but how nice do you want it? What's the ARVs? How much is the purchase price? And you know how much is left. If you know your numbers, see, me being an investor, I know numbers as far as where people need to be so they don't lose, because I don't want to lose.
Yeah.
Would you? You know what I mean?
I mean, I probably wouldn't get into going to the deal, but like, I want to lose. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, go ahead.
So like, you know, Brayden Heber guys, the other guys, investors that I have.
On the podcast on the second episode.
I don't want to see these guys lose. If these guys lose, I lose. You get it?
Yeah.
So we all have to win. If they don't, then Gabe, if they lose, then why would they want to keep going and buying more?
Yeah.
It goes in it's triplex, you know?
Yep. And that's another piece to the puzzle I think was interesting when you said that when you're looking at it from the perspective of an investor. You're trying to figure out and sort out, okay, what can I do to the property in terms of adding square footage, adding value, what, you know, there were a few where we ended up doing complete rezones because that was the one way that we can force the appreciation.
More than a few, they're still rezoning them right now, so. You know, we're going to a duplex and turning it into a triplex. You know, there's like 9 of them we did in the last 7 or 8 months.
Really?
Yeah.
How long does that process take?
We just turned Parkview. It was a triplex turned into a 4-unit, and it was 3 2-bedroom units and one 3-bedroom unit and 3 2-bedroom units. But it was originally 1 3-bedroom and 1 2-bedroom, but you took the attic and put 2 bedrooms, one on each end, put a living room, kitchen, bathroom. That's how big the attic was.
And then he was saying, how long was that process?
I think we've been working on that thing for about 5 or 6 months, but we haven't been there full force because of. You know,
it's not the work; it's the city, going through the city and all that.
That
right?
takes the longest. Like even houses on the condemned list. You know, it's just the process. You're dealing with the city, then so now you're not only dealing with the city, you're dealing with these licensed other contractors that are licensed versus HVAC, plumbing, electrical, you know, whatever, sewer guys, whatever. You got to go back and forth. Hey, did you get this done? You set your appointment up. You're communicating. Boom, 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 boom. And you know, it's a lot. And you know, so like I've done my own flips as condemned. I'd rather buy a condemned house as a flip.
So it doesn't scare you at all.
If it's in a good area, it has to be a decent area for me to put $20,000-$30,000 up on a house cash, because those are the ones you want to do cash because they're gonna sit. You don't want to pay all that, you know. You got so much overhead. You got your holding costs through your lender or whoever if you're borrowing. So if you know, me, if I'm borrowing, I want to hurry and get in and out. 2, 3 months, 4 months, get it back on the market. Yeah. That's why if I borrow from the private guy, I say, hey, you know, right now it's wintertime. I've been scouting, right around. We've been scouting. I'm trying to lock up 2 more. So like right now is the time I got to hurry and get them because I want them to be ready for March. Right in the springtime, hit the market fresh. You know, everybody's out hunting for houses.
Yeah.
You know,
how do you end up working with that? Like when you're hunting for properties, what are your main sources? Because I know you're all over the place, man. Sometimes you're sending me deals. You're trying to tell me you're like,
a deal from wherever. I've been doing it for so long with so many out-of-state investors. They're sending their wholesaler my number. He's calling my number, and this is after I've done several 8, 9 rehabs for them. And now all of a sudden, these guys are just pitching them deals to me. You know what I mean? They're saying, "Hey, here's a list," you know, and then it just over the years, it's just now I just pick my phone up and boom, here's another. I got some emails right now, and I promise you, it's probably some wholesale deals or something like that. So a lot of times I don't even have time to look. But when I'm looking, I'm just sitting in my truck and I'm at idle space waiting on an appointment or something like that, or waiting some guys to pull up to a job. You know. I'll see it in the screenshot and send it over to you or whatever. Maybe it might be good for the guys, you know. So it's like it seems like the market is getting tough to find the good potential buy and hold ones like that. I mean, the flipping is pretty good. It just depends on what avenue you want to take, I guess. But I'm gonna say, you know, Like I just got the one in Tremont, you know what I mean? That's no brainer, you know what I mean? I was gonna buy it. The 6 unit, I was gonna buy it. But I'm like, you know what, here, you guys got it. Because I had a couple going on, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And talk through that. Like, what do you mean when you're feeling like it's starting to shorten just a little bit? Like it's starting to tighten up.
The pick. There's always gonna be properties. People are always gonna, you know, God forbid, but people are always gonna, you know, not either tax, whatever this, that, you know, not pay the mortgage, foreclosures. But, you know, there's always gonna be people wanting to sell, move, upgrade, this and that. So there's always opportunity, you know what I mean? You just have to find a direction, what type of flips, what type of area I wanna be in, you know? Do I wanna do a flip by a school, a good school? Do I wanna do a flip, you know, in the upcoming, city, like maybe Lakewood, just say Lakewood or Bay Village or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
And that's where I feel like people are starting to get a key. Did you end up seeing this too? Like it's complicated because some people, especially with their contractors, when they're developing their teams, the teams are the main basis on how the investor is going to win. Well, because if the contractor is completely idiotic and they're like, oh yeah, you can finish the basement because you can add on more square footage, but then they just lay carpet down and there's mushrooms growing out of the carpeting because there was no waterproofing done.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, you know? Like if it's your flip, you gotta take the lead on it. You can't like, you know what I mean? The contractor and realtor, they're gonna give you suggestions, but at the end of the day, it's your flip, and you know what I mean? Like especially if you're coming to a new market, like you gotta listen to your contractor and realtor. But at the end of the day, it's your call, your decision. You know what I mean?
Basically, do some extra research as far as the area or
exactly,
or your outcome. What type of property are you looking for?
Well, I got this one guy. I'm not going to name any names, but he doesn't want to put central air in his high-end flips.
Oh yeah, that's no brainer.
I told him you're spending $45,000 on a flip.
Yeah.
Spend the extra $5,000. You know what I mean? And put that central air in. Like it's such a. I think he comes from a snowy climate. Like he doesn't get like the importance of that. But that like, and I showed
that's
him.
one of the major selling points right there anyway. On a flip, you know what I mean? Not a rental property, but a flip.
And here's the thing. I think you can get away with it in like Cleveland Heights, Shaker Heights, not having that. But if you're in like the 150 to 250 range, people want the complete set.
For
you know what I mean? They've been saving up for years on their down payment.
Right.
And they don't want to. They'd have to save up. They don't want to save up for central air. They want that included.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Who wants to go spend $200,000 on a new house if there's not central air?
That's what I'm saying.
Good heat. I mean, good. You know, windows.
But it's also like people don't pay attention to location, because sometimes if you have a flip and you're trying to target investors, don't set it up for homeowners, because realistically speaking, you might lose your skin on it at the end of the day. If it's going to be a primary area, like check the markets and see if there's multiple rentals. If apartments.com is showing multiple listings in the rental range, you know that that's a huge rental market. So if you're putting high end finishes in there, just bear in mind it might not do so well because your main target is going to be an investor. And then vice versa. If you're in a good location and you have the ability to finish out a basement, like you did that Euclid house beautifully. There was a Euclid house where he finished out the basement, completely ended up going top to bottom. I mean, you touched everything in there.
Or I mean, we had to. It was a flip, you know what I mean? But that was the thing though. So that when we had a little extra time on it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We paid cash.
Yep.
We didn't have to, and it took us from October to October, because and plus we didn't work on it probably 4 or 5 out of 4 or 5 months out of the year we didn't even work on it. But you know, first thing first is we did that foundation. You know, the back wall bolted, buckled in, we replaced the back foundation, and then you know I had my guys do it, so it saved me a lot of money too. But it's like people are gonna, especially smaller colonial houses like that. You know, people are going to want every inch of the, they're not going to want to spend that type of money. You know, even, we didn't even sell that for in the twos. You know, we stayed under 200,000 and still gave them a good piece of property for what they're spending their money on. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you see, the thing is, if we'd have had holding costs and all that, you know, you have to think, if you sit on something like that and you put a lot of money into it, you got an extra $10,000, $20,000. It gives you a little bit more wiggle room, you know? I tell a lot of people, man, it was like a couple buddies of mine, but one buddy he's done saved up like 40,000-50,000 and he's got it sitting to the side, you know, for when he goes and do a flip. You know, he's gonna borrow a little bit, but, you know, this for the starter, but.
How much would you say you need to get into a good flip? Like, it was funny, we had John Williams that same question.
It depends on what route you're gonna take, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, see me, I'm different. You know what I mean? Like my first flip I bought in Elyria, I think I paid 30,000, and I didn't even have it all, and I was just, you know, I was just like, I just wanted it. I bought it off the impulse, right? So, and I touched every inch of this property, like you were just talking about. I did everything, you know, roof, exterior siding. It already had vinyl windows, which was a plus. It already had decent furnace in there. But I redid the kitchen, cabinets, tile, bathroom, same thing, tile, bedrooms, attic, basement, did it all. And, you know, I was getting ready to go sell it, and I ended up selling it to my brother. So, which I did very well on it. And after that first one, you know, is like, and I already had the knowledge of stuff. You know, me being in construction, I've worked in construction my whole life. And then, you know, running my business and dealing with multiple investors from all over the U.S. I've been in so many different situations with investors, so many different opportunities. I got investors wanting to partner up with me. You know, I got private money guys ready to partner up with me. You know what I mean? Because even the private money guy says, "Hey, you made 120,000 off this flip. You know, we're really gonna do a flip together." You know what I mean? Now he's hunting. Now he's picking my brain. He's taking me out to lunch. You know what I mean? Because people don't want to lose. Nobody wants to lose, but you know, you have to be prepared in case something does happen. You know, but the main thing is man, like I said, it just depends on what type of route you're gonna take to get involved into the real estate, and you definitely want to make sure you got some type of other income coming in. Okay, something pops up, or you want to have some reserves. You know what I mean? That's the main thing. It's other income coming in and maybe some reserves. You know what I mean?
We were having a conversation before where it was just like robbing Peter to pay Paul, can sometimes it can stab you in the back.
I've seen it get stacked on, and I know an investor, you know, we've talked about it, and but the good thing is I think she's gonna recover very well.
Yeah.
But if she wasn't, she's very smart actually, you know what I mean? But if she would have just only listened to me and a few other people during her journey of 39, probably 40 something, I think it's 42, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, even me as a contractor, when I did all these 30, 40 houses, whatever it was that year or two, I'm like, hey man, the first 3 or 4, you buy a home, cool, okay. I'm like, this is a good one, flip this, you know. This was a good one, flip this, flip it. And then hold a couple more later, you know. You don't want to flip all of them, you know what I mean? Or hold all of them, because then you have all this leverage. And what if you got, you know, she did it at a rapid speed. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about one after another, and we're just smacking them out. But the thing is, these things were just sitting. She wouldn't get them occupied. So then she's taking money over here to pay this note, taking money over here, pay this note. Pay this note, pay this note, pay this note. It's just draining you. Then you gotta go take a loan, borrow. So keep going. Pay this back. You know what I mean?
She should have done them in sets. Like do 3, get them rented out. You know, get the system going.
Yeah.
And then do the new 5. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Flip 2, like, then buy 1 whole. Flip 2.
I mean, look at the way the guys are doing it, man. These guys are they're buying 3 or 4 flips. You know, they already got the buyers ready to go lined up.
Yeah.
When we walk that job, they probably already got a potential buyer. But
that's the other end too, is the fact that the appraisal value sometimes, and that's one thing that people, when you're looking at these as potential flips or holds, it just depends ultimately on, once again, location, what you can do to the property. If it appraises super high, maybe consider that as a hold, or try to sell it off to an out-of-country or out-of-state person really quick. That way you can maximize your dollar amount out, sell it off, go in with the cash flow, go in with the cash that you make off of that, and put it into more. You know, so
you see the situation with the guy for the 4 unit today. he thought it was going to appraise at 240, 250.
Yeah.
And I got the email when I was sitting there talking to Keyano, and it said 312,000. I'm like, what? In that area? You know what I mean? But like I said, the thing is some appraisals might not come back where you need it to be, and then you're out of pocket, and then you go to refi and you're paying out money. So that's why I said the reserves are very important. Either reserves or actually that you got a nice good income. You know what I mean?
It's funny that you say that because I had a complete opposite end of the spectrum today. I had somebody who literally called me and she was like, "Yeah, I haven't been able to refi my thing out." She tried to sell it, and she was like, she tried to sell it at 150. And because she had it on the market,
they went off that price for the refi.
Yes. They went off that for the refi. And because of that, she was like, oh, maybe we could have ended up pumping it up to around 160 or something along those lines. And she's kicking herself now. And I was like, it's going to be okay. At the end of the day, it depends too on the appraisers. But if they go on the market and then you try to do that refinance, that's where you might end up in a situation. So just be aware, if you have it listed, try going at your higher end. If you have to go back on your fallback, and once you start at that one price, just bear in mind they might go based off of that number on the MLS. Now she's at a situation where she was like, okay, now I gotta just wait it out for another 6 months, hold out on the loan, and on the loan it's a hard money loan, so she's just at near the end of the year. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna wait it out another 6 months because they will only end up giving her 65%. So she's like, I gotta wait it out, try to get the 75, maybe it'll go up to that 160 mark. But that's the risky play of these things.
I mean, you know, in real estate, you're gonna take a risk regardless. You know, it could shift, it could this and that. You know, it's just, you know, my buddy just told me that it happened to them guys. You know, they went to refi and prison didn't even come back. And it wasn't because, you know, that they had in the market, just the appraiser didn't appraise it right. So like I know, like,
how low was it? Was it like under?
It was way under what the market value even was. But it's just, you got multiple different people, different views, different.
It's crazy how much power that appraiser has. That one step.
Yes.
That one step. You could be having a bad day.
Yeah.
I had this one guy, my client wanted to send him an appraisal packet, and he was like, "Oh, I got some comps. Here's what I did. Like, you put this little packet together." And this guy was kind of offended that he sent it. You know what I mean? He was like, "I can't. Like, don't tell me how to do my job, basically." And he appraised it like it was over. Like I was over on Denison, and you know, he appraised it for 137, and we ended up, you know, then putting it on the market, and then Rocket Mortgage, of all people, they always come and appraise it at 180.
Yeah.
So like, if Rocket Mortgage is appraising it at 180,
right,
you know what I mean?
Well, the thing is like, I don't know how many times that, you know, the boys done had a house, and then they had 3 or 4 different appraisals because they didn't come back. There was a couple of them, you know, that didn't come back where they wanted them to come back.
I didn't realize it was that bad.
No, it's good. Actually, it's good. All of them came back high. All of the appraisals we've done, but the thing is, they had 1 or 2 that didn't come back where they wanted it.
Yeah.
And it was due to square footage because of the appraiser or this and that. And every appraiser I've seen, they you know, they view things different. You know, they look, oh, some of them are coming here in these rental properties and like, wow, this is nice. And then someone like, you know, walking around. And I'm like, you know what? All right, this one's gonna go south, but it's okay. You know what I mean? You just gotta keep it moving, man. But
that's another reason too. I mean, do you guys ever do this where you end up rubbing elbows with some appraisers just to kind of pick their brain, and also keeping note of some appraisers too? Like, for any investors out there, whenever you're looking, do you ever keep those in your Rolodex? Like, I'll always have like 3 or 4 appraisers on the phone because whenever Braden and Heber or any other client, they're looking, I'll end up trying to call them and kind of pick their brain. Right. What do they think that's going to be in the market? Because then if they give me an idea, then I'll be able to take that back, and that's a little reconnaissance before they go through into their whole thing. Plus, if you have a good AMC, they could do personal appraisals for you, which you can't use for the bank. But you might be able to ask the bank to contract them and have them go out and do it. So that way, if
I've seen some lenders use them. You know, it just depends.
Yeah.
It just depends.
Yeah.
It just depends. Like, you know, it's like a lot of the appraisals are coming back a lot better than what they were a year or two ago. I've noticed, you know, because I ask questions like Evan. I told him today. I said, when that appraisal come back, please call me immediately. I want to know. I'm curious because guess what? We have 10 houses up that main strip right there that we're doing for the guys. Yeah. And I know there were other appraisals came back, and I was telling him, I said, listen, that appraisal's going to come back more than you think. And he's like, oh, okay. Oh, and he's just all, you know, like you can hear it in his voice on the phone, and he's like freaking out, and he's like, 250, I'll be happy, 270, I'll be happy, man. I'm like, no, listen, dude, I promise you, I've had a 3-unit appraised for 250, 300, you know what I mean?
This is the 312 guy?
Yeah, came back at 312,000, he sent me an email.
Doesn't your brother have a ton down there, no?
Yeah, he's got a lot, but you know, they're not letting them go, they're hanging on because they know the area's coming up right now.
It is.
I mean, it's the value's coming up. The area itself, no, it is what it is. But you know, the properties are coming up, and people are pushing them up, which is a great thing for everybody. And that's like anywhere right now. All property values have been going up, you know, due to taxes and this and that, and it's starting to be huge. But I think the market's going to go up anyway, due to inflation and everything. You know what I mean? And
I'm curious because you've been dipping your hands with so many different investors doing different things. Mm-hmm. Have you seen more refis where people are burning them out, or have you been seeing more higher end flips? Have you been seeing more like mid-level flips?
Mid-level flips, mostly. Okay. You know, I've done a lot of Airbnbs. You know, House City, Tremont, things like that. And those appraisals always come back good. But the thing is it seems like I mean, me myself. I should say after 26, maybe even in 26, towards the summer or something, I'm looking into doing some higher end flips that, you know what I mean? You know, or maybe even new construction. But the thing is, you know, you gotta have the reserves. You can't jump in that stuff without the reserves. Things come up, things happen, other costs get unnoticed during the, you know, the process of lining the deal up. You know what I mean? It is what it is, you know what I mean? Like I said, you gotta be prepared, you know? Think about that homestead deal, you know? It's like, something comes up, I'm prepared, I'm ready to go, you know? Knock it out of the way and get it going, you know? Yeah. It is what it is, but no, I've been, like I said, I've seen a lot of, you know, a lot of good, I mean, even in rental properties, man, those things are pricing really high. It just depends on, like some people think, oh, rental property, but the main thing we do to make these rental properties nice is the paint. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the main thing, you know, painting windows. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing, painting windows with rental properties. Appraiser come by, oh wow, and you know what I mean? Instead of painting the whole house white. And I've seen a lot of people paint the floors too. I mean, I've done it. I painted the floors, the hardwood, just painted. Yeah. You know, but you know, you if you have a good relationship with the investors that you're working for, me as a contractor, I want these guys to win. I want these appraisals to come back good. So I'm running LVP all through it, and I'm painting the walls and making it look nice. I'm giving it a color. You know what I mean? So when you walk in, you're like, oh wow, this is a nice little rental in this terrible area. That's what brings the value up, though. You know, people keep going in and just slapping white paint, ceiling walls, trim all the same color. Mm-hmm. And then basically you're not putting no cabinets in, no LVP in, this and that. You know, use some $50 light fixture or something like that as soon as you walk in, you know? The first impression is everything. When you do the front exterior, make it look kind of nice, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't know if you can say the same too. Key, I have one investor that he uses all the remote control light fixtures. Yeah. And almost every single one with the recessed lighting, especially in those big living rooms. Yeah. Like a lot of Cleveland has have these giant living rooms that really don't have any central lighting system or anything in the front, so it's all dark. Right. So, but if you put the recessed lighting plus the mid-range one, it opens it all up and lights it all up.
I pretty much do that in all my flips. Like the one I got in Bedford, I don't know if you've seen that one yet, but you know, I knocked a hole in the back of the wall, put a patio door, deck behind the house. It's got 1 acre, it sits over a cliff, you know what I mean? And things like that people love, you know what I mean? Come out their kitchen right on their deck and just sit down and chill and eat dinner, you know what I mean?
Now, how can you tell whenever, like when you're setting these up, do you go based off of other people's comps? Like you go based off of other houses on the will either look, or you just go, okay, this is kind of my vision, this is what it looks like, this is where I'm sticking towards. Key, you too, because
What's
with
the-
flips too.
I think functionality is huge. You know what Darryl was saying with the Olmsted Falls property and having that overlook and you know, planning out am I gonna expand the kitchen or living room or whatever. I think functionality is key. You can't just go off of square footage or bed bath goods. It's actually got to make sense. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
You know, so I think functionality is everything. You
It
know?
has to have that appeal, man. You know, like I said, I don't know who I was talking about, but you kind of feel like I would live here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh wow, I love this. You know what I mean? I go in, it's like, you know, it's basically a hobby for me, versus like, you know, somebody like just say guys that like to go fishing, they get excited and this and that, and I get excited. We're gonna knock this wall out. I got all these big plans, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like just the Bedford property that it's sit on a little over an acre, but you know, I didn't know I was gonna knock the hole in the wall and put the deck back there. But the more I thought about the kitchen, I'm walking in the kitchen. There's not a lot of space, so I ended up knocking the hole and put a slider door in there just to give it some more light. And there's a deck there, and now we got a bunch of windows around it, so it's now you can see out through the whole backyard, just pretty much like the Olmsted Falls property in that big room.
Yeah.
But this one has a slider door. So I mean, this is a lot of stuff like that matters, man, when you're doing flips. I did that at the property over there that you sold in Euclid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When you set them up though, is it pretty much, that was my biggest thing. Do you end up going based off of heart? Like you're like, okay, this is how I'm thinking it can operate, just off of like personal, or do you go based off of other people?
I go off of I'm gonna win or lose. We're gonna win. We're gonna win. You know, it's you gotta go in there and just, you know, hope. You just have to hope and then have a vision, man. The biggest thing is having a vision and a mindset and an understanding of what people are looking for these days.
But how do you curate it? Like, how do you end up setting it up where, okay, my vision is going to go with, this is going to get me the highest dollar amount, because this is what people want.
Well, first
Like, how do
off,
you feel
I
like-
run, like, that particular property, Olmsted Falls, that day, I went to look at it. Before I even pulled up to the house, I drove up to it, I looked at the house, and now I'm looking in the area. Then I just took off driving around the block first.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. I pulled back in the driveway, went in the house. Then after I went in the house, I went down the other street and kept looking in the area, looking at these houses, and boom, boom, boom. And when I'm looking at these houses, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a good one. You know what I mean? Off top. And I'm like, this is a good one. But then, you know, I got the brainstorming about that garage situation and this and that, you know, and hopefully, you know, hey, you gotta understand that there's some what ifs. So, hey, what if it doesn't sell? It's okay. I'll keep it.
You're gonna live there, right?
You never know. I'll keep it and rent it out. You know what I mean? Whatever you gotta do, you gotta do. You know, you gotta keep trenching, but.
But when you end up setting the functionality part, like you're pretty much setting it up when you're getting that vision. When you're setting up the vision, is it pretty much just you and what you're thinking based off of your experience? Or is it based off of when you're going and looking, and I think you already told me, when you're looking at those other houses in the area, you're trying to nitpick, okay, I like this thing, I think this, maybe this, and then you're gonna put it all together based on, number one, what you remember out of that layout, but also what you have in your mind based off of other properties that you've been inside. Like, is that how you do it? Is kind of a mix of both?
Yeah, a lot of times, man, it's like I'm already running. Why I run numbers, I'm thinking about what we need to do to get to that number, and you know what's going to make it nice. You know, and as we're working on a particular property, there's going to be things I'm going to say. Never mind, don't do that. Don't worry about that. Run this exit wall. You know what I mean? Whatever. You know, do LVP throughout. Not run all tile. You know, just make it nice. You know, like I just did. You know. It varies, you know what I mean? Remember the property on West 61st right there? Remember that one? I ran tile through the whole downstairs.
Was that the one near Denison over there?
Yeah.
Over by Barry.
The gray and black house that I took you to that one day.
Yeah. With the one that had the bathroom already built in, right? Upstairs.
Yeah. No, I put that bathroom up there.
Okay.
Where I lifted the roof up.
Oh, okay, that house.
Remember? Yeah, but that one, you know, I mean, I went a little above and beyond for that. You know, we did the siding, we did this, we did the gutters, we did the roof, lifted the house up, it was only one bedroom upstairs. I made it it was a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. I made it a 3-bedroom, 2 bath. You know what I mean?
I didn't know you ended up lifting the entire house.
I lifted the whole second floor.
Huh.
Was that your first time doing that?
Yes.
Yeah.
For myself.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So I had a buddy, he was doing a flip, and I was over his house watching. I went over there and talked to him, we were chopping it up, you know, talking and stuff. And I'm like, and I'm looking at dude, he's hanging up out the roof and he's framing. And I'm like, what are you putting up there? Extra bedroom? He's like, extra bedroom, master bedroom, bathroom, closet, walk-in closet. I said, And his was right off Denison. And I'm like, you know what? How much does it do to charge me to come over there, you know, and frame that, lift that roof up, chop the roof and lift it, and put a new roof, decking, shingle, everything.
I feel like
price, and I was like, you know what? Go ahead and go over there and do it. And that wasn't even my guys. I had my guys working on other projects. You know, I was just subbed it out to somebody else. And then we came over there. My guys did the siding. My guys did the drywall. My guys did the inside stuff. But this guy helped me out, you know, with a good price. And the price was actually good enough to where I'm like, yes, go over there and do that.
Yeah.
Is that a specialty, just like raising up roofs?
You know, this guy was particularly a roofer and a framer. So, you know, like I said, he chopped the roof. The house was almost an A-frame house. So the one side he lifted up about 3 foot, and the other side he lifted up 6 foot. So now there's a hallway down this side. You got a bedroom, bathroom, bedroom.
Before he does all that though, is it like an unfinished attic space, and he's essentially like it's the same square, but he's making it more usable square footage, right?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is, to build the bedrooms up there, the way it was framed out, originally it had one bedroom on that second floor. So it only had one bedroom, so in order to put bedrooms and bathrooms up there, you have to build a hallway to walk.
Yeah.
And it has to be a certain height, and the pitch of the ceiling was at an A-frame. It was like a 12 pitch, and then we had to raise it up to put a hallway. You know what I mean? It came out really well.
It really did, and it was so amazing because it was all open concept, like across that whole thing, and that was the coolest part about it, guys. The tiling across the entire floor.
It had a panda tile. It was a black and white panda, something like that.
I love that. Like I never
I
really
have the
see
pictures.
that.
I'll show it to you. Yeah, I'll show it to you. I have the before pictures of the house with the A-frame. Then I have the other pictures where we lifted the roof up like this.
Yeah, showing them.
Yeah.
The other one that I remember is like that one, like you have to see Kennedy when he shows you pictures of, of like your personal home.
Oh yeah.
That tiling in the kitchen is amazing how you set that up.
Oh, the center tile.
The center tile.
I had my buddy doing that, and you know, we're just coming up with ideas while we're working in there.
So do you end up? So whenever you're ending up,
this is the house.
rehabs,
You say what?
whenever you're doing rehabs too, do you just kind of pull different things? Like you'll go trial and error, say if something
See the
looks
kitchen?
good.
This is your house?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Look at that.
I was gonna do a flip. in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to send me those pictures
See,
because we'll
there's my
show
living
it.
room.
That's nice.
I'll show it to you now.
Is that a window?
That's a big window.
That's
Yeah.
balling.
Yeah, it's nice.
Brother, you got
There's a kitchen. We knocked these walls out, opened the kitchen up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See how we opened it? See the LVL we put in there?
What's LVL?
Low bearing walls, you know, extra support beams or whatever. You know, there's different types of LVLs, but you know.
That's beautiful.
I built a brand new garage in there.
Darryl, can you send all this so that we can
See
put
the
it on
walls
the
I put in my
episode?
basement?
What is that? Is that tile?
You know, it's like a marble PVC wall, but it looks like marble. Look at that.
No, that's sweet.
That's in my basement. My TV's on that wall. I put a 100-inch screen TV on that wall. But this is my basement. This is my man cave. But that's the front of the house at nighttime. This one came out really good, dude. What's it say? Oh, we need property tax going.
I agree.
Yes, we agree. But no, yeah, this thing came out good, dude. Even the bathrooms in there. Let me see.
How many bathrooms you got?
Well, when I got it, what did it have? 1.5 bath? No, it has 3 bath. 3 bed, 3 bath. Finished basement, garage. It came out really good.
It did. It did.
Mm-hmm.
You have to send those pictures. Remember, we're still on
There's
video.
the bathroom.
Oh, we're on video. you gotta send the video.
No, does that have two shower hoses?
I got the overhead shower heads in there.
Yeah.
See it? See in the ceiling, the black up there?
That's awesome.
There's the rainfall shower heads and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, you
Very
know.
cool.
And these bathrooms are
Like I said, this was gonna be a flip, but then I'm like, you know what, man? I'm gonna keep this house. I love it. You know what I mean? Like I said, I did the house to where I liked it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna keep it.
Yeah.
You know, I was strategizing. Like, do I just keep flipping it and keep rotating and be patient and go buy me a house somewhere else? I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll just keep this one, and I'll live in there and I'll just keep flipping. You know
I
what
was
I mean?
telling you, that one looks like something out of Scarface. Like, it really does. When you go through, he has a giant picture of a tiger. It's
Yeah, I don't know where those pictures are. They're in here somewhere. The finished pictures are in here. So here we go. I think this is it. Oh no, that ain't it. No, that ain't it. No.
That's your TV, though.
Yeah, that's the 100. Yeah.
Did you wall mount that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. For sure. There's my picture right there. I put that picture in the basement.
Oh, dude, that's fierce.
This is sweet, and it's like a 3-piece picture.
Oh,
It
yeah.
sits above my couch. Came out pretty good, man. Like I said, I bought it to flip. You know what I mean?
But then
Get
decided
you
to
an
keep
Al
it.
Pacino picture
Look,
to
watch
put in your
the
office.
hallway. How we put the marble panel walls up. Look.
Oh, dude, that's in your hallway?
That's just the hallway.
That's
You know
cool.
what I mean? It's just the small things. I think that costs like $300 to do.
Yeah.
And look how good it
Are
looks.
you serious?
The panels are $50-$60 a piece.
That's wild.
You
That's
know?
wild.
I mean, it's really nice. I mean, it's just the small things you do to these bathrooms and kitchens and.
I like that little
nice.
insert for your soaps and all that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh yes, the niche. Yeah.
Nick, on some of this, we're gonna want to put some of the videos in and some of the pictures, and then maybe edit some of this out. But regardless, like, okay,
Yeah.
you gotta tell us, like, okay, so when you're going in on some of these and you're fixing like kitchens and bathrooms,
Mhm.
which one would you say is more important when you're going through a home, especially
Regardless,
for flips?
I think the most money is going to kitchens and bathrooms. You know.
Building material wise, what do you think? Whenever you're setting stuff up, like say for higher end or for even mid range flips, like what are the differential factors?
As far as what?
As far as like
What type of material?
Yeah. Like
Um,
finishes, stuff like that, backsplash.
Well, you see what we did in that. You know what I mean? And I was gonna be a flip, and then I'm like, you know, I like this. But so it just depends on. I mean, it depends on the budget, to be honest. You know what I mean? And you know, I just had recently sold a couple houses, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go all out on this one, and I know it's gonna sell. And I already had the number. You know, you knew the purchase price. I already knew what I was gonna put into it. I know what I can get out of it now.
Yeah.
I know for a fact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've already had my buddy come over, and his dad's an appraiser, and they were like, you know, you're pushing 300. You know what I mean? But the thing is it's just the budget and what you got in mind. It depends. Like, say for instance, if Keyano was to call Darryl and say, hey Darryl, me and my wife and my kid, we're buying a house. I need you to come. You know, I'll give you a layout, and I want an actual real budget for this, and I want it high end. You know, and then we'll come up with ideas like this, and we'll come up with a budget, and that'll be it. You know what I mean?
So is that how you line it in? Is you when you're walking through with a client, like you're just basically working through with them? Okay,
Mhm.
look, when we finish this off, this is what I think. This is what I'm like envisioning. Then what do you think? What do you want? Because if you want X, Y, Z, it's going to cost X, Y, Z.
Well, a lot of times, so you know, I used to work for a lot of regular homeowners, like, you know, residential homeowners, you know, and they're like, we're going to move in this house and this and that. We're gonna pick our tile. We're gonna pick this. We're gonna pick that.
I love your residential home up your voice.
and it's like okay, all right. So, but it makes it better on the contractor because of the simple fact that I don't know how many times I've worked for homeowners, you know, in particular, and you're like, you go pick out 20 pieces of tile and they don't like it.
Yeah.
You didn't spend 4 or 5 different trips to Lowe's, 4 or 5 trips to Home Depot, 4 or 5 trips to this tile company over here, and they're still not happy. And you're like, oh, you know what? All right, listen, we're gonna take out $5,000. You go pick your tile and be done with it. You know what I mean? You give them the square footage, and it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Well, is that the reason why you hate giving? And I know what you're gonna say after this. You probably know.
What's up?
Anytime when investors are like, why can't they just give me a budget that's a breakdown budget?
Yeah, yeah, right.
So,
The
work us
The
through.
breakdown is $100K or 0 for me not to do it. If the job costs 100,000 or zero for me not to do it. There's a breakdown.
What's the idea behind that? Because I mean, realistically speaking,
Well,
I know how much time it
so
takes.
what they do is what they break down because they're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna eliminate tile versus LVP, and it's like you're saving a couple $100 maybe material wise.
Yeah.
It's just the labor costs that cost the most. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just varies, man. Some people are doing it because they're on a budget, you know what I mean, or whatever it is, or the lender, or they can only get so much funding, or to even make the deal make sense. Because I've had so many investors, and here's the thing, I love it when they tell me to break the price down. So like, you got a $90,000 rehab right here. I take that and I just start divide, and that would all be the same numbers in the whole list. And it'd be like, hanging doors cost just as much as the paint, or, hanging doors cost just as much as installing furnace and ductwork, you know what I mean? They're all the same. Here's your breakdown, you know what I mean? But like I said, I've worked for investors where I give them a price and they deal with that. I'm not the one getting the loan. Here's my price, here's my contract. You break that down for your lender. That's not my thing to do. I mean, it shouldn't be, you know?
Well, I mean,
itemized price, there's apps that do it for you, yeah. But guess what? Those apps aren't even accurate. You know, people doing those new apps now, and they're going like, how much does this cost? Use AI. And then they go in the deal, and they're like, oh yeah, use 40K rehab. And guess what? That contractor gets in that 40K gone, and then another 40K to finish it. It's just, you know.
And that's another thing too. And I want you to walk through horror stories that you walked into, because I mean, I can only imagine, right?
I've come behind in the past couple of years now. Just say a couple of years. In the past couple of years, I've gotten calls from investors where I've walked the property, given them a price, and I'm getting a call back 6 months later. Hey, we need you to come back over here and give us a price. And then I get back over there, and the price is probably pretty much almost the same it was when I gave you the price the first time, because now I got to tear all this stuff out.
Oh, they got burnt by somebody
Got
else.
burned, or the guy didn't finish, or he screwed everything up, you know?
Well, we both know on that agent side, whenever we get that call, and it's like, oh my gosh, because they went through 2 or 3 different general contractors, and they're like, okay, we took the mid-range based off of that, and unfortunately, we're going to have to take out X, Y, Z.
Right.
And to the rehab, we still think we could get it through. Do you think that this whole full gut rehab could be $35,000?
Right.
No!
They'll say, I got a guy that can do it for 20. Go use that. Go use that guy.
And it's always funny because it's like months later, then you have the scenario where they ran out of money, and either one of 2 things happened. They're super slow, and they don't want to tell them that the money's ran out and that they can't finish the job because they can't find the sub crews or anything to work, and so they just ghost.
Yeah.
Or they end up tacking on to the bill, and now it's like, okay, now they're 55 to 60,000 in versus the rehab originally that you gave them at maybe say 65, and they're like, oh, it took 4 more extra months because the contractor kept on trying to cheapen it out or work something out because they were off on the original budget.
Or they'll start the job, they'll get so far in it, and they'll start running low on funds, or seeing that they're coming to a point to where things are not looking so good, so they pull off and go to another job to get more funds and come back over here and finish this one. And so it takes a year, but they do get them done. I've seen it. You know what I mean?
So that's the reason why they end up
Some of them.
ghosting for some time, because they'll switch.
They'll switch and hop over and do a job, or they might even get a call from a new investor. Hey, I got this job. Can you start tomorrow? And they're like, huh? And they're in the middle of this rehab, you know?
They're gonna use his down payment to finish your job.
For sure. I've seen it. I've seen a lot, man. I've seen a lot.
What's some of the weird stuff that you've seen? Just out of curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Walk us through Darryl horror stories.
I mean, I just walked a job over by Detroit Shoreway for an investor, and so the guy, I looked at this property a year and a half ago for this lady. Yeah. She was gonna buy it for $40,000. I guess this guy bought it, and they're doing the tax abatement thing on the house, and I guess the guy subbed it to another guy, and then he subbed it to another guy, and then this guy did probably 25% of the work, and they paid 75% of the rehab budget. and now he's stuck out of, you know, I think it was $80,000, and the rehab was only 120 or 110, and so like he didn't have much room left with the lender. He didn't have much room left with the lender, and now he's got to come out of pocket another. And I walked it, and I'm like, listen, I'm good. I don't want nothing to do with this. You know, I don't take it personal, but I can shoot you in the direction to help you guys help you get to a good point. You know, that means some cheaper guys, because you're not going to get a higher end guy unless you want to pay out of the pocket a lot. You know, and it was like still down to the studs. So
it just seems like such a nightmare. You buy a house, you gut it, and then it just sits in the studs.
Oh my god, oh man, too. Because I know even with holding, going back to your point, holding costs and stuff like that, especially if you have a hard money loan. I have one guy, he ended up, God forbid, he got, and you could probably go to these same types of stories. I had one guy, he bought one in 44108, and he thought that he was going to be able to break this whole thing down for $40,000 instead of full rehab. And I told him, don't do it, but he was like, I already bought it, it was done. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So he's been trying to sell this off market for the longest time. He's like, this is the worst thing you hear. It's like, Gabe, I have to sell it at 100, 110. I'm like, there's no way you could do a duplex at 100, 110. It's full gut.
No.
Like, there's just no room. It's a 4-bedroom, 4-bath.
Duplex?
It's a 4-bedroom.
Yeah, you're talking $140,000 to get that thing back up. You got all the insulation, electrical, plumbing, kitchens, bathrooms, drywall, paint, floors, trim, windows, doors.
Side by side with additional bedrooms that could be built on, but you know as well as I do, when you add in those bedrooms, add in that square footage, the price goes up with how much you have to put in. So it's like he's just been screwed. Like it's $100+ rehab. How do you go that far off when you're rehab budgeting? You know, like for a contractor standpoint, like what?
Because a lot of them get misled, you know what I mean? The biggest thing is having an agent, real estate agent, whoever's with the deal with it, to have a little bit more knowledge of the rehab cost, and or have a guy or whoever, your own contractor guy. I can't remember his name, but
well, let's not mention the name. But remember that situation where he had to do the Euclid point of sale, and he had you do everything else except the driveway and the tree. And he remember like the contractor.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny like these contractors these guys buy and they just they find.
So he called somebody to come over to cut a tree down, and the guy went in the house and stole the furnace, stole the AC unit, and stole all the copper pipe in the house. Yep. Right. So then I tried to help him out, and it was just a big mess, man. And he already called me back to go look at another property, and I'm like, I don't have time. I'm good, But it's it's like the biggest thing is having the agent, having the contractor that has experience in. That's the thing. A lot of these contractors don't know how to run these numbers and to make sure they're in the safe zone for the investor or for the agent, to everybody, to make some money in the deal. You know what I mean? Yeah. And what I've been seeing a lot is some wholesale deals are good, but then you might have this out of state wholesaler trying to sell this property to an investor, and then the agent pretty much don't know about what they got worked out until they get ready to close, and they're like, how much are you paying for this? You know what I mean? Yeah. And they're overpriced, and they're trying to make $50,000 off of a $30,000 house. You know what I mean? Yes. I've seen it happen, but it's like, come on, man, leave some room for the investor. How could you make more than the investor, and you're just pitching the deal over? You know what I mean? Come on now. The investor's got to make some money. The contractor's got to be able to make some money. There's no room. And then a lot of people go off impulse and buy the property. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest things too. I know each of us can speak to that. And with regards to wholesalers too, I mean, Keith, do you want to break it down, like for wholesaling, like what specifically that means when you say wholesaling?
What is wholesaling?
Yep.
So wholesaling is getting property under contract with the seller, and then essentially selling the contract to an end buyer. And let's say you get the property under contract for $50,000, and you find a buyer at $80,000, you're going to pocket that the difference in between, the $30,000. So basically, what wholesaling is.
I know one of the biggest things with regards to wholesale deals is just the fact that if there's very loose margins, and this is something I hope with those new regulations that are in place, Keyano sent me that article. It's supposed to go into effect in March.
I mean,
We'll
how
see
does
what
the
happens.
wholesalers make more than the agents? You know what I mean? Come on,
Well.
they should split it with you guys.
Well, one of
That's
the
how I feel.
one of the tough parts is the fact that it's like, and that's
Let me ask
the
you a
weird-
question now. Contractor to realtor, right?
Yeah.
How do you guys feel when you guys see this on this paper, when you guys get it back from title, how much this agents or this wholesaler's making versus what you're making?
I mean,
Do you feel some type of weight? Just a little bit? Just a little bit. I mean, it's okay.
One of the you talk for yours. I already have mine, but what were you gonna say?
I mean, if I see them making like 15K and I'm making 3K,
Right,
I mean,
right.
I do gotta feel a little some type of way.
good.
You know what I mean?
Because I was just curious. 'Cause I was
yeah.
just talking about this with somebody else, another investor, and I'm like, because we were just complaining, but whatever, as we should. It's okay.
I have a different. Okay, so here's my deal. The only thing that I feel bad about is at the end of the day, it's the client that's taking that risk, and it's the
Yeah.
client that's taking the hit. And the thing that pisses me off
Yeah.
is the transactional side of a
Yeah.
wholesaler. It's
Mhm.
like we could do so much business together.
Oh yeah.
Because right now
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm rolling deals between a ton of different investors,
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things is the fact that I don't really care. I care about, I know it's going to continue to elevate. I know
Mhm.
that at the end of the day, month after month,
Yeah.
I have a productive business through multiple other
Oh, yeah,
investors
for
and
sure.
relationships with
Mhm.
them.
Yeah.
That'll be established over time. I don't need to be transactional.
Right.
Set stuff up on the back end, which
Yeah, yeah.
realistically speaking, we all know. It's
Yeah.
like with wholesaling, it's this weird gray area where
Some-
some will be a little bit
some,
shady,
Yeah.
and then when they
There's some
get
good
to a
ones out
certain
there,
point, there are.
I got a couple good wholesalers out there. And they're fair as it can be, But there's some where I had to question it the other day.
There
You know the
are.
deal, my deal, where I'm like, hold on, but it's here nor there. But I'm like, how is this dude making money? Then I'm looking down at the bottom what my agent's making. And I'm like, this is not. Hold on, he's doing all the footwork. This doesn't add up.
Well, this is where it's like, okay, the original thing for wholesaling was supposed to be you're signing a contract because you're the investor.
Hold on, he knocked
And you were
6K off, and he
intended-
still made 20 times as much as you. And he knocked 6K off.
He did.
I mean, you probably felt
Come
so
on,
good about
man.
that. You know,
He
you felt like you
he
were
could at
doing
least
it.
called you on the back end and say, hey, do you got Zelle or this and that. Send you a couple grand through Zelle or
Well,
something.
here's the deal though. That's
come
the
on.
situation where it's like, okay, if they're going direct and they're making that type of money, all right. There's
Yeah.
one deal as long as it still works out for you.
Right.
That's
Oh
what I
yeah,
care
no,
about.
if the deal works, it works for anybody. I don't care. But
But-
he can get the house for 5,000 and sell it for 30,000. That's cool.
But at
Because
the end
it
of
works
the-
for everybody. The investor, the contractor, the agent, and
Well, at the end of the day, it's business.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, if you end up getting you get one over on
Mhm.
one transaction,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
you think I might end up finding a different wholesaler around
Right.
the
Yeah,
next
right.
time around to,
Oh, yeah.
to try and figure
Well, there's
things
a
out?
couple of
So
them
that's
out
where
there,
it's
yeah.
like, and I get it. Like I get it. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, we're all trying to make money.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you're screwing over my client, you might be screwing over me too.
Yeah.
It's a situation where, okay, obviously you don't care about the relationship that
Yeah.
much. So I'll switch it over. I understand you have marketing costs and stuff like
Mhm.
that. All of us do.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I'll respect that moving forward on the next one. I'll
Right.
make sure to switch it over on a different
Right.
agreement.
Right. I mean,
But in deals like that, it's like, I want to make sure you're set because
Mm-hmm.
now at this point, it is what it is.
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah.
But
I mean,
when-
everybody's got overhead. Everybody's got this. Everybody's got bills. Everybody's got this. And it seems like some people got to go through more to get what they got to make in the same industry. And it's like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Be a little fair. But I see. So I personally know a couple of good wholesalers, and they're doing very well. They have
Same.
consistent buyers. You know what I mean?
Same.
They have consistent agents that they send their deals through because they know they're making. They have a set price what they're selling it for too. Set price. Some of them, I'm gonna sell this one for 50,000. I'm gonna make 50 off this one. I'm gonna make 25 off this one. I'm gonna make 30,000 off this one. I'll make 10,000 off this one. They're all over the place. You know what I
Well,
mean?
that's where it's like there's some that are transactional and
Yeah.
there's some that are, and you can tell which
Oh, yeah.
ones are the ones that
Yeah.
are business.
Mhm.
And it's literally ran like a business. Similar situation, above board. They have a whole LLC set
Yeah.
up. They have everything situated. But some people, they just go get their LLC and then they think they can they
Right.
can throw it up for
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
number.
yeah, right.
And so that's where it's like, I love those types of wholesalers that you're saying. The ones that you can end up talking through, we figure out what the number is,
Right.
what makes the
Yeah.
most sense based off
Right.
of their thing, and then they're
I mean,
legit.
those last guys wasn't that bad. I mean, they did drop it a little bit, but once I seen how much they were making, I'm like, holy crap.
And that's where you have to be careful, because at the end of the day, you're not going to see that until you get the purchase agreement.
Believe it or not, that gives people cold feet.
Yeah.
They're like, hold on, man. And, you know, you might want to back up and think about it for a minute. You're like, you know, it's like, I don't know. It's like,
They feel cheated, you know what I mean? Even if they ran their
I mean,
numbers.
me, I'm like, I know I'm gonna make my money regardless, one way or another. But you know, because I've been in this and I know how to maneuver. But the thing is, not everybody knows how to maneuver out of that type of situation or where to get their most bang for their buck at on a property. You know what I mean? For a little cost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's like, it gets really bad when you run your numbers and there's enough margin. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But when you're tight on margin
Yeah.
with regards to situations, it's like,
Right.
come on. I mean, you're the one taking on the inherent risk. The
Yeah, when I
reality
bought
is
in
that
Bedford,
they
as soon as I gave him a number, and this is where I told him I need to be out the door. I mean, when you say out the door, that means no extra beyond, just call it 115,000. I don't need to be 115,000. No more, but yes, less. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? This is where I'm at. Can you do it or not? No title fees, no nothing. 115,000. You can no more, but yes, you can go less. Right?
Yeah.
That's where I need to be, and I knew the number was going to work, and I know I can make it work, and I know I'm going to win off this deal. You know what I mean? I'm very confident. I don't even care. I can sleep at night. You know, I ain't got to worry about staying up at night and strategizing. You know what I mean?
Does that 115 give you a buffer? Like if like
Gives me a good buffer,
Yeah,
a 100K
okay.
buffer.
Okay.
So you see what I'm saying? Versus ours, and it's not a 100K buffer, so I'm in a little buffer,
Oh.
and now I gotta get nervous. But
For
I'm
sure.
still gonna make some. I'm still
Yeah.
gonna make some, but not what I want. Not what I'm
Mhm.
used to making either. Because I try to stay. I want a 100K buffer at the end.
Uh-huh.
If I can stay around that 100K, because you seen them, I make 100K, boom boom. You know what I mean? Boom boom.
But I think, like, with that one, I think you can end up making it work. At the end of the day,
I think so,
if
too.
you end up, like, it just depends on the type of finishes and the type
Oh,
of thing that
yeah.
you set up, especially for that giant family room.
Well,
So
I
it's
was gonna ask you anyway if you want to go over this weekend. We can walk that thing, and come up with some ideas,
Yeah.
and maybe stroll through the neighborhood and see what we come up with. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, strategize. I mean, it doesn't matter if I gotta go over there 20 times before I even started. I'm gonna come up with a solution. You know what I
You're
mean?
gonna be like Michelangelo.
For
You're gonna
sure.
wait for like the last day, and then you're gonna set it all up.
Oh yeah. It'll be a good thing. It's a good thing, man. But you know, the thing is just making that buffer work, man. You know.
And that okay. So to that end too, with regards to deals, regardless, like even with wholesale deals and stuff like that, what would you say? Wholesale deals, off-market deals, stuff like that. Right now, you said you're looking for two additional flips.
Yeah. Right now.
What type of areas are you most interested in? Because now we can end up starting to try and streamline some wholesalers, try to get them.
I have it wrote down. I have a long list of areas. Wrote down already for you.
You keep on mentioning that. You never
I
send
just
me
keep
the-
forgetting. You know, like say for instance when we leave here, it's like, you know, I got an easy day. It's 6 o'clock. Usually I'm still running around, but I got an easy day today. So an easy day today to me means go home, probably don't answer the call unless maybe you or somebody important, you know, and sit back and chill, you know, and I'll forget, you know, but that's, you know, I'm thinking about hair. Now I gotta sit and gauge these because I'm still looking now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, the private guy, Dave, wants to team up on a flip, you know. And we went to lunch the other day, and he's, you know, telling me, hey, let's find this. We're gonna find a good flip. We're gonna find a good flip. And you know, he gets cold feet a lot because he's seen so much, you know. And you know, he's a lender, so he, you know, he's real risky on his. Just like that particular deal we just got, you know, he was. The craziest thing is the lender was trying to protect me and also himself, but he's like, look, I'll talk to him for you and get him dropped from 6K or this and that. I'm like, what? I was like, all right, yeah, I bet, let's do it.
That's sweet.
So between me and you, he was the one on the back end. Remember I told you he was like getting cold feet, but it's like
well,
he
across
was
the board, we kept on telling you that okay, these are the numbers. At the end of the day, look, like if you don't want to do it, that's fine.
Right.
But and that's the buyer's remorse. Like,
right.
if you don't want to do it,
right.
drop it.
Right.
But we just have to let them know drop it.
Let them know now to it, and we're at the end of the deal, and it's like.
And you kept going back and forth. Well, it was also like kind of a screwed up situation because at the end of the day, and that's the other thing with regards to the purchase agreement, we didn't find out until we saw the Alta.
Right.
And we saw all the numbers, and that was why it was like, okay, do you want to?
Well, after I seen that, I'm running numbers, and I'm like, yeah. But I know it's gonna work. I'm not gonna lose, but I'm not gonna make what I wanted to make, what I envisioned to make in the beginning. And then, so another thing is I got the property line. I don't know if you knew I went and got the property line of that layout, of that property survey. And I was looking and trying to scout where I could stick a garage if I had to, you know what I mean? And I'm like, no garage. And I'm like, no garage. And I'm talking about that night I slept 3 hours. You know, I was
just thinking about.
I woke up at 3 in the morning thinking about a garage. We're gonna stick this garage, kind of knock a hole in the side of the house and build it right off the front of the house, and just have a driveway, a garage that goes right into the house and go right into the house. But you could actually do that. So I'm still strategizing, even now. Even the deal's closed. I'm gonna start it soon, but I'm gonna go back over there tomorrow and see, because I thought about it. I could still put a garage there. It'd be tight to the street within a few feet, but. You pull right into your garage, hit your door opener, go in your garage, get out your car, walk right into your house. So I have to knock a hole in the house, but so what?
I think it's right into that one bedroom.
I'm going over there tomorrow. I already thought about it. I was driving in my truck today thinking about, how can I get a garage? You can't do it on one side because the hill. It's too, and you gotta go to the city, and they're probably not gonna let that happen because there's a little creek down there. So, you know what I mean?
And that's one of the biggest things too, is just like going back into these types of deals, guys, like at the end of the day, networking back and forth and passing along deals at the end of the day, like Keyano does the exact same thing. I do the exact same thing. And you pass along deals over to, like, we'll always end up making sure to protect each other, but then at the same time too, networking deals, like at any point, if you guys have deals too, you send them over to us. Or vice versa, and send them out. So it's like at the end with buyer's remorse too, it's always like a tough touch and go type of situation, but there's always more deals to be had. And worst case scenario,
for sure,
if you line in a deal that may not garner the most, it's like just try to be in and out. At the end of the day, I'll also let you know, I already told you, we'll make it work. We'll make sure to make it work at the end of the day.
Because for sure.
And that's the difference between transactional business and the difference between people that are just trying to get
goal is to make sure we all win, man. I mean, me personally, and in the success that I've overcome now, I want everybody around me to win, because now I know what it takes to win. You have to have winners around you. You can't be in a circle where you're the only one winning and then these guys are falling off. You know what I mean? It's just, you can't be on that pedestal, you know what I mean? I look at it like we all gotta win. I don't care. Sure. If I can do something to help you win on your flip, I'm gonna go over and do it. And whether it costs me a couple bucks or not, I don't care. You know what I mean? It's the main thing is, you're doing good, you get good, man. And that's how I look at it. It's, you go back and forth with people and you try to strategize it's all about, I don't know, that's why I brought up that thing about the wholesalers, and it kind of made me mad, but it's, you got so many wholesalers you're dealing with, man, like tons of them, That's why I've been sending you some of their numbers, so. I don't want to deal with it no more. I'm good. I'll wait till you guys get the deals. I got one wholesaler buddy.
You just want to make all the money, and then you're going to go over to Costa Rica.
Yeah, right. I told Dave that too. I was like, we're going to Costa Rica. By the way, my passport's on the way.
That's awesome, my friend.
Want to go?
I'm down.
Seriously?
Yeah.
When?
We're going in February.
You're going in February?
Costa Rica, all the guys. We're going down here. Dave said he's going to come up with an Airbnb for us. right in his little development park where he lives.
I gotta get permission from the wife. I don't know. I can't get it, you know what I mean?
I'll pay for the Airbnb, you know. We're having a good time, man. Go get some good food, you know. Just get away, you know. We'll find something to get into. Maybe rent some jet skis or
That sounds like a great
whatever,
time.
man. Go scuba diving. I've never done it, so you know.
That's
We've got to do it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We're gonna see a shark. I'm gonna push you in front of it.
I seen some when I went to Florida, man. It was crazy. I was riding with my daughter on the jet ski and the shark. She was like, "Oh, she's freaking out." Dude, shark was right there. I'm like, "No, calm down. It's not that bad." If I was in the water, I would have freaked out probably. But I was on a jet ski going, 60 miles an hour. You know what I mean? I wasn't worried about the shark getting catching us. It was pretty funny, man. But anyways.
One of the biggest things too is like tell everybody. This is one of the last things.
Yeah.
Tell everybody number one where you're at right now. What specifically, number one, you need the most in your business as we're leading up into 2026, guys. This is going to come out in 2026, but right now it's just before the beginning of the year, man. Where are you at in your business? What can you use the most right now? What are you looking forward to the most in 2026?
2026 is, I already know it's going to be better than it was 2025. Already meeting new investors. I'm already strategizing on what can I do for myself, not just the investors or my other business, my construction company, but what can I do for myself to build more wealth? You know what I mean? And my guys know that work for me too. I'm already talking to a couple of my employees about getting them started on flips right now. You know what I mean? And because I want to see these guys win. You know what I mean? So like I got an employee now that he sold one of his inherited properties and he's saving his money, which as he should. He's ready to get into a flip with me.
Gotta get ready for it.
For sure. I already talked to him. I think it was Friday or something last week, and he was supposed to be giving me a call. But I forgot to send him your number. So you guys get a deal for him. But anyways, 2026, man. Like I said, man, I'm gonna keep trenching and keep doing what I'm doing, man. Help out who I can. Help out the business. Try to build the business. Make different decisions to be more organized in the business. You know what I mean? That way we know. That way, and then here's the next thing I want to start. I want to try to figure out a way to start budgeting and saving costs on these rehabs, man. Because these rehabs are starting to cost more and more. It is. It is. I mean, I did one just recently, and I did it at $80,000. It ended up costing me $90-something thousand, and I ended up paying out $15,000 of my own personal money.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's. Some you win, some you
part
don't.
of the game, right?
But I didn't go back to the investor and say, "Hey, you owe me $15,000," and be an asshole about it. No, I'm gonna screw you over. It's probably my fuck up because I should have dissected that property more and stayed there for 2-3 hours. I don't know, and dug some holes in the walls. I don't know, but I lost. It's okay. You don't win them all. You know what I mean? Keep going. I'm not gonna cry about it. I'm gonna keep moving. I didn't even tell nobody about it. I know in my head I lost $15,000. My bank account knows, but it's okay. Nobody else needs to know that. You know what I mean?
One thing that you're not mentioning within it all too is the fact that this guy's humility within how he conducts business and the way that he functions his business as a contractor, as a friend, knowing you for so long now. It's just been a pleasure to see how you conduct business with other clients. Because if you lose your back or lose your shirt on a deal, he will make sure that at the end of the day, the deal gets done, even if he's not making any money. At the end, I've had.
Do you know how many furnaces I had to buy twice for my investors? They got stolen, and I went back and bought them again for them. You know what I mean? You gotta do what you gotta do to keep everybody winning. If I can afford it, and I know I can get it done, and I just sent the HVAC guy over there, and I'm like, listen, I need a deal on this one. Somebody just robbed us over here. Boom, 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 help us out. I eat costs like that all the time, but thank God we're coming up with a new strategy to try to avoid these things happening. We're brainstorming. We're just all in a call earlier about the next moves. So that doesn't happen. It's 4 properties now. It's happened to us. people do it, man. We're in certain areas, St. Clair area, we're over in the Superior area. It's inevitable. It's okay.
When you are looking for flips, tell the people, what type of flips are you looking for?
Me?
For 2026, yeah.
Oh, me? Well, I do know the Brown Stadium is getting ready to start building, next year? Or they already started digging.
It's going to be done in 2028.
All right, so everything surrounding that area, that's what we're looking for. I don't care what it is. All right, start looking. All right?
You heard it here.
How about 2026, me, you, and my good friend Keyano, get us that flip, and we'll start that year off with a new one for us three together.
Let's do it.
So please send us deals.
Send us a
because
deal.
We need them. And
Anywhere or within 1,000-yard radius of the Brown Stadium. We're gonna Airbnb it though.
And then as soon as we find ours, we'll make sure to find you yours. And then at the end of the day, guys, thank you so much for watching.
Yep.
This has been Darryl Brown. He is, and you were asking me to say this, so I'm gonna say it on camera.
What's that?
He is the greatest of all time, the GOAT.
My dude.
The GOAT. And he genuinely is a phenomenal contractor, a phenomenal investor. Definitely check him out. All his information is going to be down in the bio. And genuinely, it has been a pleasure. Local Keys and Contracts, guys, keep on watching. Thank you so much from both myself and Keyano. We can't wait for 2026, guys.